thanks for joining me today. Today's flow will be a third chakra flow. Your third chakra is centered around your core or your solar plexus. And third chakra flows really build heat or tapas. We'll also do a lot of twists, which are supposed to aid in digestion. So let's go ahead and get started. Come to a comfortable seated position at the center of your mat. You can sit on a blanket if you'd like. And then sit up nice and tall. Bring your shoulders up and back. Really stretch the top of your head towards the ceiling. Engage your core even in a seated position here. You can soften your gaze or maybe even completely close your eyes and start to begin your Ujjayi breath. So breathe both in through your nose and out through your nose. Take a moment to really bring that attention to your breath and maybe lengthen your inhales and your exhales to 3 counts each. So inhale and exhale. Continue this for a moment here at the center of your mat. And begin to phase out everything else. Your focus is right here, right now. Inhale your hands towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, rotate your torso to the right. Bring your left hand to the front, your right hand to the back, and twist. Inhale, lengthen the top of your head towards the ceiling. And exhale, twist a little deeper. Slowly release back to center. Inhale your hands high once again. And then exhale, twist to the left. Your right hand is in front of you, your left hand behind you. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Slowly return back to center. If your eyes are still closed, go ahead and open them now. And then make your way to a tabletop position in the middle of your mat. So stack your hips above your knees, your shoulders above your wrists. You can press the tops of your feet into the mat or flip your toes, and then begin your cat-cows. Inhale, drop your belly, gaze towards the top corner of the room for cow. And then exhale, arch your back, gaze towards your belly button. Create space between your shoulder blades. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Wiggle out your hips a little bit, shift them to the back and right, and back and left. And then let's warm up our wrists a little bit. So rotate your fingers to the outside edge of the mat, and then start to move from right to left. You can move your wrists in a little bit closer to each other. And then just rock back and forth, maybe lifting up one hand at a time. And then point your fingers back towards your knees, and then rock forwards and backwards on the mat. And then point your fingers towards one another. Again, rock side to side. You can widen your stance here if you'd like a little bit more. And then back to front. And take your right hand, place the top of your hand on the mat, and kind of sit your hips back. And then your left. This one's a lot of sensation in your wrist, so just be careful. You don't want it to hurt. And then maybe if you can place both on the mat. Perfect. So stack your shoulders on top of your wrists, get your tabletop nice and in line, and then shift your weight into your left hand. Reach your right hand forward with your thumb pointing up. Press your left foot back, get a little calf stretch here, and then bring your heel towards the sky. So you're in one big long line from your right fingertips to your left heel. Inhale, lengthen as long as you can. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, lengthen. 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 And then rotate your arm off to the side and your leg off to the side so they both move 90 degrees. Lift that leg a little higher and then move everything back. Long reach, reach. Place your right hand back down on the ground and then your left toes. Rotate your right toes 90 degrees. Press the sole of your left foot to the ground and then reach your left hand high for a supported side plank. And then reach your left hand forward towards the front of the mat. So you're making a big rainbow from your the left pinky edge side of your foot to your left fingertips. Really stretch along that left side. And then straighten your left arm and lift your left foot up off the ground. So now you're in one big long line again. So similar to what we did before, we'll bring our knee to our elbow here. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, lengthen. And then one last exhale, crunch. Inhale, lengthen. And then return to tabletop. Nice work. We're starting to get warmed up. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So shift your weight into your right hand. Lift your left hand forward with your thumb pointing up. Press your right foot back at a little calf stretch here. And then lift your right heel towards the sky. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, knee to elbow. 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 Inhale, lengthen. And then rotate your arm off to the side. Bring your foot 90 degrees to the right. Hold here and then return back long. Place your left hand down. Right toes down. Left toe rotates. The right sole of your foot presses down into the ground and then reach your right hand high and then bring it towards the front of the mat. Really press into your right foot, your left hand so that you get a big side stretch here. And then straighten your right arm. Lift your right leg up. So now you're in one long line. Inhale, reach long. Exhale, crunch in, knee to elbow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, lengthen. And then return everything back to tabletop. From tabletop, press into plank. So you may have to adjust your hands a little bit so they're right underneath your shoulders. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Really puff up your chest. You have one long line from the top of your head to your heels. And then from here, bend your knees. Let your heels drop to the right and then press your hips back. Stay nice and low. Feel the stretch along your left side body. Inhale back to center. Drop your heels to the left and press back. Inhale back to center. We'll do that one more time each side. So drop your heels to the right. Press your hips back. Inhale back to center. Drop your heels to the left. Press back. And then back to plank. From here, press your hips back and up into downward dog. Let your heels drop towards the ground. Really press evenly into all 10 fingers. Shift your tailbone back and up. Chest a little closer to your thighs. And take a couple breaths here. Inhale, rise up onto your toes. Exhale, hover your knees. Inhale, press forward into plank. Exhale, drop your heels to the right, shift your hips back. Inhale, back to plank. Exhale, drop your heels, shift your hips left. Back to plank, and then exhale, back to downward dog. We'll move through that circle a couple times. Try and make it nice and fluid, like one big movement. Inhale, your heels high. Exhale, hover your knees. Inhale, plank. Exhale, hips back. Inhale, plank. Exhale, hips back to the left. Inhale, plank. Exhale,
down dog. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, hover your knees. Inhale, plank. Exhale, hips back and right. Inhale, plank. Exhale, hips back and left. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. One more time. Inhale, heels high. Exhale, hover knees. Inhale, plank. Exhale, hips back and right. Exhale, plank. Hips back and left. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. Nice work. From here, actually lift your right leg high. And then exhale, step your right foot gently between your hands. Maybe scoot your right foot a little further forward and then lower your left knee. Inhale your hands high for a low crescent lunge. Pull your left hip forward, right hip back. Really squeeze everything in and up. Inhale here. Exhale, twist right. Right arm back, left hand can come to the outside of your right knee. Inhale everything back up. Exhale, hands frame your right foot. Lift your left knee, step forward into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise up to standing for Urdhva Reach high, engage your core here. Your quads and your glutes are squeezed. And then grab onto your left wrist and reach up and over to the right. Really root down into that left foot to get that full stretch. Inhale, back up. And then exhale, side stretch to the left. Again, root into that right leg. Inhale, back high. Exhale, twist to the right. So bring your right arm down and back. You can bend your left knee a little bit here. Inhale, back high. Exhale, twist to the left. Again, right knee can bend a little bit. Inhale, back high. Exhale, cactus, mini back bend. Engage your core here. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Step back to plank. And then from plank, lower to your forearms. And then drop your heels and hips to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, heels to the left. Inhale, back to center. One more time each side. Back to center and to the left. Back to center. Rise up, back onto your hands for plank. And then shift your hips back and up into down dog. So now we'll do that same thing, that same sun A variation on the left. So inhale your left leg high. Exhale, step your left foot gently between your hands. Maybe scoot it a little bit further forward. Lower your right knee. Inhale your hands high for your low crescent lunge. Pull everything in and up. And then on your next exhale, twist left. Your right hand can come to the outside of your left knee. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, hands frame your left foot. Raise your right knee, step forward into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise up to standing, reach high. And then a side bend to the left. So grab onto your right wrist and reach up and over to the left. Inhale, back to center, switch it up, reach up and over to the right. Inhale, back to center, exhale, twist left. Inhale, back to center, exhale, twist right. Inhale, back to center, exhale, cactus. Inhale, back to center, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, step back to plank. And this time lower all the way down onto your belly. Try and let your hips hit the ground last. So if that means coming to your knees and chest first, please do so. Flip your feet so the tops of your feet are pressing into the mat. And then walk your hands forward for Sphinx pose. Spread your fingers wide and pull your chest forward and up.
Inhale here. Exhale, bend your left knee and gaze over your right shoulder. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, bend your right knee and gaze over your left shoulder. Inhale, back to center. We'll do one more each side. Bend your left knee, gaze over your right shoulder. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, bend your right knee, gaze over your left shoulder. And back to center. Bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. Lower your forehead to the mat, and then inhale, lift for cobra. Little to no weight in your hands. Inhale, lift a little higher. And exhale, release your forehead to the mat. Walk your hands out to the side, and then kind of tent up your fingertips. Try and bring your elbows on top of your wrists. And then inhale, lift your chest for wide-armed cobra. Inhale here. Exhale, dip your right shoulder to the center, gaze left. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, drop your left shoulder, gaze right. Inhale, back to center. One more time each side. Inhale, back to center. And last shoulder dip. Inhale, back to center. Exhale. Lower your forehead back down to the mat. Place your hands underneath your shoulders. Flip your toes. Press yourself back up to plank. And then shift your hips back and up into downward dog. From here, walk your feet. Take tiny little steps up to forward fold. In forward fold, bring your big toes to touch, tiny little space between your heels, and then sit your hips nice and low. Brush your fingertips against the ground and bring them forward, and then up so that your biceps frame your ears. Engage your core here. Really sit as low as you can. Make sure you can see your toes. Inhale. Exhale, airplane your arms, palms down, triceps high. Inhale, back to chair. Exhale, airplane. This time, clasp your hands together. And then as you exhale, fold forward for a chest expansion. Take a couple breaths here. And then release your hands down. Inhale, lift halfway to a flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, rise up to standing, reach high. Exhale, cactus your arms. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, step back to plank. And then if you'd like to take your first chaturanga, you can do so here. Know that you can always shift your hips straight back into downward dog or lower to your knees. And then for chaturanga, bend your elbows straight back, only bend 90 degrees. And then inhale, press your chest forward and up. Flip your toes, press into the tops of your feet for up dog. And then exhale, flip your toes back over, shift your hips back and up into downward dog. Let your heels drop towards the ground. Inhale your right leg high. And then exhale, bend your right knee and open that hip up to the side. Stack your right hip on top of your left. Keep pressing into your right hand so that your shoulders are square to the ground. And then re-square your hips. Extend your right leg out long. Inhale here. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, right knee, right elbow. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, right knee, left elbow. Hover here. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, knee to nose, and then step your right foot between your hands. Maybe widen out your stance a little bit. Come onto those left toes, nice and straight and strong, and then inhale, rise up into high crescent lunge. Squeeze everything in and up. Hold for a breath here. And then on your next exhale, bring your right hand down and back and twist to the right. Really twist with that torso. And then from here, bring your right hand to the back of your left thigh. Reach your left hand up for exalted warrior. Your shoulders are not now square to the front. Inhale your right hand high. Exhale, open up to warrior two. 90-degree bend in your right knee, back leg is straight and strong. Inhale. Exhale, extended side angle. Open those shoulders up to the side.
And then reverse your warrior. Inhale, exhale here. Inhale, straighten your right leg. Exhale, tee out your arms. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, TikTok your arms to 6 and 12. Bring your right hand to the back of your right leg. Reach your left hand high. Press into the ball of your right foot for triangle pose. If you'd like to use a block under your right hand, you can do so. From triangle, bring your left hand down to the ground on the inside of your right foot. Bend your right knee, rotate onto your left toes, and then reach your right hand high for a twist. Return your right hand to the ground, and then straighten your right leg for pyramid variation. Keep pressing into your left toes. Inhale, lengthen. Bring the top of your head forward, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Really pull your right hip back, left hip forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. You kind of want your lower back to be flat like a table. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Nice work. Bend back into that right leg. Bring your right hand to the inside of your right leg. So now we're moving through runner's lunge. We'll just pass through this. So bring your right foot up and place it on top of your left. Let your heels drop to the left. Reach your right hand high for side plank. Really press your hips high. If you'd like to lift your right foot up off of your left, you can do so here. Hold for a couple more breaths. And release to plank. From plank, lower to your forearms, forearm plank. Inhale here. Exhale, drop your heels and hips to the right. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, heels and hip to the left. Inhale, back to center. One more time each side. Inhale, back to center. And drop everything to the left. Back to center. Come back up onto your hands for plank. And then shift your hips back into downward dog. Nice work. Inhale your left leg high. And then open up this hip. Stack your left hip on top of your right. Bend your left knee. Keep pressing into your left hand so those shoulders are square to the ground. Inhale your left leg high. Re-square those hips. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, left knee, left elbow. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, left knee, right elbow. Hold here for a second. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, step your left foot between your hands. Adjust your stance here. Inhale, rise up to high crescent lunge. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, twist left. Place your left hand on the back of your right thigh. Inhale your right hand high for exalted warrior. Keep your core engaged here. Inhale your left hand high. Exhale, open up to warrior two. Inhale. Exhale, extended side angle. Reverse your warrior. Forearm to thigh, high five the back wall. And then on your next inhale, straighten your left leg. Feel that extension along your left side body. Exhale, tee out your arms. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, TikTok your arms to 6 and 12. Bring your left hand to the left side of your left calf. Reach your right hand high for triangle. Gaze up towards your lifted hand. And then bring your right hand down. Bend your left knee. Rotate onto your right toes. Lift your left hand high for the twist. With each inhale, again lengthen, and exhale, maybe twist a little deeper. Keep trying to pull your left hip back, right hip forward. Place your left hand back on the ground, straighten your left leg for the pyramid variation. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Start to bend back into your left leg. Bring your hands to the inside of your left foot for a quick runner's lunge. And then swing your left foot back. Drop your heels to the right. Inhale your left hand high for a side plank on the right. Again, if you'd like to lift your left foot up off of your right, please do so here. Just a couple more breaths. Lower your left leg, return back to plank, drop down to your elbows, and then lower your hips and heels to the right. Inhale back to center, exhale to the left. Inhale back to center, exhale to the right. Inhale back to center, exhale to the left. Inhale back to center, rise up to high plank, and exhale, down dog. Nice work. So that's our flow. We'll do that again, starting from the beginning. So walk, or if you'd like to hop, bend your knees nice and low, gaze forward, and then hop up to the top of your mat. Land nice and gently with bent knees. Bring your big toes to touch. Bend your knees. Inhale your hands forward into chair pose. Inhale here. Exhale, airplane your arms. Inhale here. Exhale, airplane your arms. If you'd like to take a drinking bird, come up onto your toes. Inhale, chair. Exhale, drinking bird. Clasp your hands behind your back. Lower your heels and then fold forward. Straighten your legs. Bring your fists up towards the ceiling. And take a couple breaths here. Release your hands to the ground. Inhale, lift halfway to a flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up to standing reach high. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Step back to plank. Lower halfway to chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale your right leg high. Exhale, open that hip up. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, right knee, right elbow. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, right knee, left elbow. Hold here. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, step through to a lunge. Inhale, hands high for high crescent lunge. Exhale, twist right. Inhale, exalted warrior. Exhale here. Inhale, hands high. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale. Inhale, straighten your front leg for extended or reverse triangle. Exhale, tee out your arms. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, triangle. Inhale. Exhale, bring your left hand down, bend your right knee, reach your right hand high for your twist. And then exhale, right hand down, straighten your right leg for your pyramid. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Bend your right knee. Bring your hands to the inside for runner's lunge. And then bring that right foot around. Drop your heels to the left. Inhale your right hand high for side plank. Maybe lift that right leg up off of your left. And hold here. Bring your right leg down. Return to plank. And lower to your forearms. Heels and hips to the right. Inhale back to center. Heels and hips to the left. Inhale back to center. To the right. Back to center and to the left. Back to center. Rise up into high plank, and then shift your hips back and up into downward dog. Inhale your left leg high. Open your hip up, bend that left knee. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, left knee, left elbow. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, left knee, right elbow. Hold here. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, step through to a lunge. Inhale, rise up to high crescent lunge. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, exalted warrior. Exhale here. Inhale, left hand high. Exhale, open up to warrior two. Inhale. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale here. Inhale, straighten your leg for reverse triangle. Exhale, tee out your arms. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, tick-tock your arms to 6 and 12 for triangle. And then bring your right hand down. Rotate your hips forward. Inhale, your left hand high for your twist. And exhale, left hand down. Straighten your left leg for your pyramid variation. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Bend your left knee. Bring your hands to the inside of your left foot. Bring your left foot around. Place it on top of your right. Drop your heels to the right. Inhale your left hand high for your side plank. Maybe lift that left leg. Release your left leg down. Return to plank. Lower to your forearms. Drop your heels and hips to the right. Inhale back to center. Exhale left. Back to center. Right. Back to center. And left. Back to center. Rise back up onto your hands. Shift your hips back and up into your down dog. Nice work. So we actually lower to your knees. Come into a child's pose right here for a second. Knees wide, big toes to touch. Hips sit back over your heels. Reach your fingers nice and long. Maybe even press into your fingers so that your hips come a little closer to your heels. We're going to move through that same flow one more time, just with a couple variations. So go ahead and help take some deep breaths. Let your heart rate slow down here as we get ready for this last round of the flow. And when you're ready, meet back in down dog. Walk or hop your feet up to your hands for forward fold. Big toes to touch. Bend your knees. Inhale your hands high for chair pose. Exhale, drinking bird. Inhale, chair. Exhale, drinking bird. Inhale, chair. Exhale, last drinking bird. Clasp your hands. Lower your heels and forward fold. Release your hands to the ground. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up to standing reach high. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, reach your hands high. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Step back to plank. Move through a chaturanga if you'd like. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale your right leg high. Exhale, open that hip up. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, right knee, right elbow. Inhale, right leg high. Exhale, right knee, left elbow. And then straighten your right leg. Place it the pinky edge on the ground. Lower your left heel. Inhale your hands up, your hips up for fallen star. Take a couple breaths here, really press those hips high. And return your left hand to the mat, tuck your knee under, press back up to three-legged dog, and exhale, step your right foot through to a low lunge. Inhale, rise up to high crescent. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, exalted warrior. Exhale here. Inhale, right hand high. Exhale, open up to warrior two. Inhale. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale here. Inhale, straighten your right leg for reverse triangle. Exhale, tee out your arms. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, triangle. Inhale here. Exhale, left hand down, right hand up. Come onto those left toes for your twist. And then return your right hand down, straighten your right leg for pyramid. From here, we're going to go into a twisted triangle. So, take your left hand on the mat right next to your right foot, sorry. Place your right hand on your lower back, make sure it's nice and flat. And then maybe reach your right hand up towards the sky. So it's essentially the same as the twist we were just doing, except for your right leg is straight. You can also grab a block underneath this left hand if you'd like. Maybe gaze up towards that right hand. And then return your right hand down, bend into your right knee, bring your hands to the inside, come through runner's lunge, shift your right foot back, inhale your right hand high for side plank. If you'd like, you can try reaching for your big toe with your peace fingers and extending that leg out. But keep lifting your hips high. And then release your right foot down, return to plank. Lower to your forearms. And then right here, make sure your forearms are parallel, fingers are spread wide. And then walk your feet up towards your elbows for dolphin. Continue to press your chest to your thighs like you do in down dog. And walk your feet back to forearm plank. Rise up into high plank. Shift your hips back and up into down dog. Nice work. And now for that on the left, and then we are finished with this portion of the flow. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale, open that hip up. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, left knee, right, left elbow. Inhale, left leg high. Exhale, left knee, right elbow. Straighten that left leg. Press into the pinky edge of that left foot. Lower your right heel. Inhale your hips up to fallen star. Return your right hand back down. Tuck your left knee in and then press it back up to three-legged dog. Inhale. Exhale, step through to a lunge. Inhale, rise up to high crescent lunge. Exhale, twist to the left. Inhale, exalted warrior. Exhale here. Inhale, left hand high. Exhale, open up to warrior two. Inhale. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale here. Inhale, straighten that front leg. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, tick-tock your arms to 6 and 12 for triangle. Inhale here. Exhale, right hand down. Come onto your right toes. Left hand high for your twist. Exhale, left hand down, straighten your left leg for pyramid. Inhale, exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. And then prep for your twisted triangle. So make sure your back is nice and flat. Pull your left hip back. And then place that right hand on the ground on the inside of your left foot and reach your left hand high. Return your left hand to the ground, bend your left knee, move into runner's lunge, and then bring your left foot back. Lift your left hand high for side plank. Last side plank. And again, if you'd like to take the toe hold on this side, grab onto your toe with your pinky fingers. Lift high. Slowly release. Return that left foot down. Move back into plank. Come onto your forearms. And prep for a dolphin pose on this side. So really make sure those forearms are parallel. And then start to walk your feet in towards your elbows. Press your chest back towards your thighs. And take a couple of deep breaths here. Walk back to forearm plank. Rise up to high plank and shift your hips back and up. Nice work. Inhale your right leg high. And then exhale, step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. So we're going to take a runner's lunge and we're going to stay here for a little longer this time. So feel free to lower your left knee or come onto the right side of your right foot or even onto your forearms. Rise back up onto your hands. Come up off of your left knee. Toe heel your right foot towards the center of the mat. And then reach your right hand up and overdrop onto your left hip. Bring your right hand towards your left foot for lounging lizard. Inhale, press your hips high. Reach your right hand forward like that rainbow we did at the beginning of class. Exhale. Hips down. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, down. One more time. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, down. Return back to runner's lunge. And then from runner's lunge, step your left foot up so that you're in malasana. So knees are pointed in the same direction as your toes. Bring your hands to heart center. And use your elbows to press into your knees to kind of get your back nice and straight. Place your left hand down on the ground. Reach your right hand high. You can even do a little bind here if you'd like. And then switch it out. Right hand down, left hand high. And if you'd like to take the bind, left hand high. Return back to Malasana. So we're perfectly set up for a quick crow pose here. So if you'd like to take crow, bring your hands to the mat, and then you can either hug your knees into the outside of your bicep or actually more like your shoulder, or you can tuck your knee into your elbow. So whichever variation feels more right for you, and then kind of shift your weight onto your hands, gaze just a little bit out in front of you on your mat, and then slowly lift one toe and maybe the other, and then squeeze everything up and in. Maybe try and straighten those arms a little bit. And don't forget to breathe here. Slowly return back to Malasana. And then we'll move into runner's lunge on the left. So shift your right foot back. Again, take whatever variation you'd like here. You can lower your right knee or come onto your forearms. Rise back up onto your hands. We'll make our way into lounging lizard. Come up off your right knee, toe heel, that left foot towards the center of the mat. And then bring your left hand up and towards your right foot. Inhale, hips high. Bring your hand forward. Exhale, hips down. Inhale up. Exhale down. One last time. Inhale up. Exhale down. Nice work. Move back into runner's lunge. And then step your left foot back to plank. If you'd like to take one last chaturanga, you can here, or just shift your hips back and up into downward dog. From downward dog, walk your feet forward and then just cross your ankles so that you can come into a seat. Place your feet on the mat in front of your knees bent. Grip behind your thighs, behind your knees, and then start to roll back onto your tailbone. Bring your shins parallel to the mat for Navasana or boat pose. Use that grip on the back of your thighs to get a nice flat back, and then slowly release the grip out back behind your thighs. You can stay right here, or if you'd like to straighten both legs for full boat, do so now. We'll just hold this for a couple breaths. If you start to shake, that's quite all right. Slowly bend your knees, return your hands back behind your knees, and lower your feet to the ground. From here, gently roll back all the way onto your spine. Walk your feet close to your glutes, and then reach your fingers for the backs of your heels. Maybe you can even tickle your heels. Knees and feet are about hips width distance apart. And then inhale, press into your palms, your elbows, your forearms, your feet to lift your hips up towards the sky for bridge pose. You can clasp your hands underneath you. Maybe wiggle your shoulder blades a little closer so you can really get some lift. And just take a few breaths here. Slowly release your hips back down to the ground. Toe heel your feet out, mats width distance apart. Let your knees knock together. And then place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly for a little reconstructive rest. Start to toe heel your feet back to center. Move your knees to match that. And we'll prep for one more bridge pose. So reach those fingertips forward towards your heels. And then inhale, lift your hips. Again, you can clasp your hands if you'd like. Maybe try pressing into your elbows to get a little more lift. Slowly release your hips back down. Bring your knees into your chest. Give your knees a really big squeeze. Maybe even lift your shoulders up off the mat. And then extend your left leg out long. Keep your right knee squeezed in. And then guide your right knee over to the left for supine twist. Extend your right arm out long and gaze to the right.
Start to guide your right knee back to center. Give it a big squeeze and then extend it out long as you bring your left knee in. Give that left knee a big squeeze and then guide your left knee over to the right. Gaze to the left, extend your left arm out long. Start to guide your left knee back towards center. Give it a big squeeze. Bring your right knee in. And then reach your hands between your knees for either your ankles or your big toes or the outside edges of your feet for happy baby. Let your hips open. Glue your lower back to the ground. So this is more of a hip opener than a spine lengthening stretch. And maybe rock from right to left. Bring your knees back into your chest. Give them one last big squeeze. And then extend everything out long. Bring your arms long behind you. Point your toes. This is as long of a stretch as you can get. And then bring your hands to your side, palms facing up. Wiggle your shoulder blades in so your heart's a little open. Let your feet open and relax. Maybe bring your chin just a tiny bit closer to your chest so that your neck lengthens. Soften your gaze or completely close your eyes. And let yourself fully relax here. This is where I'll leave you, so feel free to stay here as long as you need. And thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste.